Here we are again to do lab 10. As you can see, we're going to do a few things. We're going to install the TS web access roles. We're going to use the remote desktop web connection. We're going to actually connect to the TS web access server, and then we're going to try to use some of these remote apps that we're going to load up. Alright, so now we're going to start off doing the terminal server web access role. To do that, on our first server, as you can see, we'll go to Server Manager. We're going to open up roles. We're going to, after you've installed your terminal server web access, we're going to back out. We're going to go to our second server. We're going to get on the internet. Here we're going to try to access the remote desktop web connection. We're going to test it actually from our second server. So here we're going to type in our the address, pretty much, or the name of our primary server, and see if we can sign on. Alright, as you can see, now we're signed on to our web access server. We'll go to remote desktop. Pop up a little warning. We'll just close it. When we get here, we're going to sign in. We're just going to sign in under our main server's name. We'll go down to the down here and go to 800/600 pixel options. After you go to the options, after the options, an additional box will drop down in the remote computer sound. No play, because we don't need no music to play. In the performance part, we're going to change it to LAN, 10 megabytes or higher, and then we're going to connect. Another warning will pop up. Let's connect again, put in our password, and it should connect to the first server for us through the internet. And as you can see, it's working. Server 01 through the remote desktop. This is my first server inside of my second server, and that completes the number 2 port using the remote desktop with the web connection. So now we're going to try to connect to the terminal server with the web access server. We'll log off our partner server, go back to our first server. We're going to open the alright, we're going to go administrative tools, terminal server. We're going to go down into our remote apps manager. Now that we're down in here in our remote apps manager, we're going to go over here to look in our action planes, and we're going to look for terminal server settings. Here we are in the terminal serving settings. We're going to, now that we're here in the remote, we're going to click the show remote desktop button, and we're just going to apply that. Click OK, and then back out. That button that we pushed a second ago, the show a remote desktop connection, that is what we had actually unchecked previously in a couple labs back. Now we're cutting it on so we can actually connect to the terminal server using the terminal server web access. Now that our second server is back on, we'll get back up into the internet again, and just like before, we're going to try to get on the internet with our exact same thing we did before with the 2020 server 01.contaso.com at our terminal server. So it should still be up here on our list. Alright, now that we're actually on to our web server through our, the internet, as you can see, we have an icon for it. Now this icon wasn't here earlier. Now we actually, when we cut it on our first server, we cut on our web access. Here we go. It gives us an icon. Ask a warning will come up asking about to start the connection. Just connect. As you can see, we're going to try to connect to our first server. As you can see, we're logging on to our first server. You can see it lined up here on the top, across the top. It's an internet connection. We're still on our second server, even though the first server is showing. Here's the icon for it, or here's not the icon for it, but here's some of the icons that are on the first server normally. It's not showing the normal silver settings because this is its basic. But as you can see, we're signed on through the internet to our first server from our second and partner server. So that actually concludes the connecting to the web server. And now we're going to try using some remote apps. So now that we're done with this part, we're on to the next. We're going to log off our second server. Alright, we're back onto our first server. Now we're going to actually try using some remote apps with the web access. So again, now from our first server, we're going to go back to our remote app. Now that we have selected the programs that we want for remote apps, we'll log off, go back to our partner server, log back on. Now we're going to get back up on our internet, and we're going to test to see if those remote apps that we had just set are here for us. And as you can see, now we're back on our web access server, our terminal server web access, and as you can see, all the icons that we selected a second ago are here, and we're happy. We're going to give one of them a try. Let's give WordPad a try. We're going to go ahead and connect to the WordPad on the first server from the second server. As you can see, we're connecting to server 01, and it finally has popped up, and there's the WordPad from the first server, and I will pull up the WordPad from the second server, and there's not much difference. The only thing that I can see different right off is the coloring of the bar. On the first server, it's pretty dark. On the second one, something else I've noticed, this one actually shows the icon of a notepad. On the server one, on the one from the terminal server, it does not show that. This one's also showed up under documents already. This one ain't. But either way, a couple differences. Other than that, that completes our lab. We have used our remote apps.